Today, I'm going to go over a bunch of pre-existing theories with evidence that supports and does not support each of them, as well as some new theories that I've come up with my own evidence. Let's get right into it. From my point of view, I think this theory has a 50-50 chance of being canon. Number one, the amount of references in this show. There are so many references in this show that it's at the point that so many of the scenes are just a reference to some other show. This makes the show seem like it's just a social experiment to whether or not the fans will spot all the references, or if they'll find ways to connect things from all these different shows just because they've been put together to make it seem like its own show. Number two, we know how much Gooseworks likes to lie to us. That could very well mean that the show itself, too, is a lie. Reasons that I feel like it could be a false theory. The VAs apparently cried reading the script for episode 9. If it was some sort of, haha, this was all a social experiment, I doubt they'd be crying. Number one, they haven't eaten or drank any water or anything like that for months or years. How could they still be alive? Although there was no dead bodies wearing the headset when Pomni got there, they could have perchance all been at different locations with headsets, which could explain why there was nobody there. On the other hand, it could be that they were all put in stasis pods, like what Abel said, and if there was someone there, there is no way Pomni just took the headset off a dead body and put it on. She's not that level of stupid. Now, this is a relatively new theory, and I believe it was discovered by this creator. I'll put up their video here. As we currently know of, all of the abstractions happened in the characters' rooms. Whilst Jax was abstracting in his room, he was sleeping. In episode 1, when Ragatha is talking to Pomni, she says that sleeping is like taking a break. And as seen during Jax's abstraction scene, it was a really calm, serene environment, which is also like taking a break. Number 1 is the Cain and Abel theory. There was a password recovery tool called Cain and Abel, and it was usually called Cain for short. We know now that Cain knows their names and he's hiding it from them. This could mean that their names are the passwords to get out, because if Cain is a reference to the password recovery tool and he has their names, that could signify that their names are the key to leave. This is similar to the theory that the way to escape is to say their real name plus exit. Now, if you look closely at Cain's office in the Spudsies adventure, you'll see various random posters. One of which is an image of the exit from the Truman Show replaced with the TADC exit door. This could signify that TADC is just like the Truman Show, in the sense that all the NPCs are like the actors around them, and that the main characters are just like Truman. Or maybe the main character is one of the humans, and they don't realize that everyone else is not a human. It could also show that because at the end of the Truman Show, Truman escapes, this could mean that the main characters, the humans, do escape. This would also mean that maybe the exit doors Pomni was seeing in episode 1 were the true exit. There's one key moment that a lot of people seem to have completely skipped over, which is Pomni believing that the circus was a dream. And she could be right. There are a lot of things where things don't seem to add up. At the end of the Spudsies adventure, Pomni's already been graded when she left after Gangle. But when Gangle got there, Pomni had already been graded. How did that happen? When we see her returning to the office, there's no one with the headset on. That's because there never was other cast members. This also relates to the Truman Show, because that could mean that Pomni is the only real human and everyone else is just fake. So she has to wake up in order to escape. This could be why we never see her sleeping. We see her try to sleep during the teaser, but then she can't. On the other hand, this theory could be disproved by the fact that Jax was seeing memories from real life, and the fact that we've seen the other characters building connections and storylines. However, this could all just be a setup from Kane, or her own mind. The following theories are all things that don't build up an idea for how the show will end, but give us an idea of the world around us and what could happen. And this first one really shocks me. So, we've all figured out that Pomni translates to remember in a language called Slovenian. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But no one seems to have checked the translations of the other characters' names. If you translate Kane, then it turns out that the spelling used in the show is the Slovenian spelling of the English Kane. But the most shocking by far is Zubul. Because if you translate Zubul from Slovenian, it translates to teeth in English. And we know that Kane hates Zubul. Kane is a pair of teeth. This deepens the relationship between Kane and Zubul, and that there's more importance to it than we seem to think. Now, I've managed to work out the suspected archetypes of all the characters that have been mentioned in the show, that have been given names. Some of these are guesses, as we haven't actually met the characters, but it's based on the information we've been given about them. As you can see, Ribbit isn't here. That's because we've had pretty much no information on them yet. But the whole reason I did this archetype board is to find out what they were like. And as you can see, there are 12 characters, and I've managed to find spaces for all the other 11. I've also come up with a suspected timeline for when everything takes place in the show, which took me way too long, so it would really be appreciated if you could like and subscribe. Go do that. Go click that button. Thank you. Okay, appreciated. So it seems that the entire thing would have started around 1985 or 1990, and then we know the show takes place during 2017. According to my calculations, Kinga should have been in the circus for around 20 years. Kinga said that the worst thing you can do is make someone feel like they aren't loved, but he clearly loved Queenie and she's still abstracted. Maybe this means that abstraction isn't a bad thing. I believe Ragatha has more connections to the trio of Jax, Ribbit, and Kaufmo than we already thought. In the hallway with Abel, she specifically mentions Kaufmo and Ribbit when referring to the abstracted, and she wouldn't do that if there wasn't more to them. And during the Pomni and Jax fight scene at the end of episode 6, when Pomni blames Jax for causing people to abstract, he says it's something that everybody does. Maybe this is because Ragatha was part of the reason that Ribbit and Kaufmo abstracted too. Jax says during episode 6 that him and Gangle always do team adventures together. How come he was never on a team with Ribbit or Kaufmo? We know that Jax named Gangle, so maybe Gangle arrived a while after Ribbit had abstracted, and because of Ribbit abstracting, maybe Jax and Kaufmo got into a fight, and therefore never did team adventures together. Because the picture of those three holding Hot Cocoa took place in the circus, because in the background you can see the black and white tile flooring that's used in the circus. It's not a snowy cabin.